My adoptive mother locked me in the garage for hours, then told me, "This is your lesson." I nodded, then fought back, in a way she never expected. After my original parents died when I was 13, I was reared in a Moscow orphanage. 4 days after moving to America at 16, my mother stated, "You're American, and Americans don't need Russian rubbish." At 16, an American couple met me on an adoption tour and decided I was perfect. Through a translator, they promised me a beautiful life in America with my own room and good schools I didn't want to leave. But nobody gave me a choice. Everyone thought I was crazy for staying in Russia, but I had a bad feeling. The first day in their Ohio residence, they told me I could only speak English and not Russian. Immersion was the fastest way to learn, and keeping my old tongue would prevent me from becoming American. I signaled that I only knew 25 English words. The mom told me to call her Rebecca and said, "Then I guess you better learn fast." Since then, if I spoke Russian, even to myself, Rebecca would appear and take meals or lock me in my room. The second rule was that I had to change my name. I loved Sophia because it was my grandmother's name. Rebecca gave me a list of American names and I chose Emily because it was the shortest. She called me Emily immediately and corrected me when I said Katja. She told everyone at church that my name was Emily and I was excited to come to America. She laughed and added, "She's still learning to express herself." Rebecca put me in the local high school without ESL help because she felt special programs would make me reliant and lazy. She stated I was proficient in English and timid, understanding just one word in 25. I never talked, so kids called me the Russian robot. When I returned home to ask Rebecca for assistance, she remarked, "You're not trying hard enough." Rebecca tossed away my Russian souvenirs the first week. She said, "You're starting fresh, and you can't do that while clinging to the past." I watched her throw everything away and couldn't tell her what those things meant to me. Her husband, Mark, just nodded. Rebecca always made huge meatloaf and casserole dinners. She'd become annoyed if I didn't finish, adding, "You'll prefer American food because families have dinner together." She wouldn't let me leave the table until I finished. She ignored me while I gazed at cold food for hours. I journaled in Russian to think in my language. Rebecca interpreted from beneath my mattress at her church. She went nuts when she read I loathed living there and craved home. She called me ungrateful and protected me from awful life. I watched her burn the notebook in the fireplace and threatened to send me back if I wrote in Russian again. I begged her to send me back but was terrified to say after 7 months, I hardly spoke English. I knew more, but I was frightened of saying anything stupid and Rebecca correcting me. She punished me by taking everything if I didn't answer questions in full. English Mark worked full-time but remarked, "Your mother is trying to help you, and you need to appreciate that." A Russian student transferred in Maxim spoke English better than me. Lunchtime Russian chatter revived me. I told him everything about Rebecca and Mark. His Russian immigrant parents would help me, he said. They were pleasant when I called from school. They felt my position was odd. My instructor saw me with Maxim and taught Rebecca. She contacted the school to separate us and forbid me from speaking Russian on campus. She said, "If I hear Russian, I'm pulling you out of school and homeschooling you to supervise." She smiled coldly and said, "You're going to learn to be American even if it kills you." I didn't realize she meant it literally. Play 90 seconds and give me 5 stars on Spotify. Maxim's parents called the house, but Rebecca told them to never call again. 4 winners can choose a Spotify or Amazon gift card. I repeat her words in bed that night, "Even if it kills you." She said it cold and sure, so I knew she meant it. This goes beyond learning English and being American. My brain plots my survival plan since I can't sleep because I'm afraid she'll hurt me or frighten me into obedience. My gut hurts after eating a forced meal. Hours ago, Rebecca is normal the next morning, preparing breakfast and discussing church activities like she didn't threaten my life yesterday. I accept her porridge without protest. My face is blank as my mind races through options. Mark reads the newspaper at the table, never looking at me. As his wife threatens to kill me, I finish the oatmeal and thank her in English like she taught me. Rebecca smiles and pats my head like a puppy. My school classes are foggy. I'm thinking about how to call Maxim's parents without Rebecca knowing. When I see Maxim across the cafeteria at lunch, his eyes and Russian mouthing are evident. "You okay?" Just a slight headshake. I quickly turn away before a teacher catches us conversing. I use the toilet between courses and remove my left shoe in a stall. I gently unfold the small paper shred in the inside sole, where Rebecca won't see it, and examine Maxim's handwritten numerals. 8 numbers may save me, so I pray repeat them softly. Rebecca makes me sit at the table for 4 hours that night. After 1 hour, my legs numb. I need to go to the restroom, but she won't let me leave until the meatloaf is gone. It gets cold and congeals into a greasy mass that makes me gag. I choke down little chunks, chewing endlessly to avoid gagging. Mark arrives home about 9. He sees me sat with Rebecca guarding the kitchen and thinks about it for 6 seconds before softly climbing upstairs and closing his bedroom door. Rebecca and I are alone again. I swallow the final frigid bite at midnight. Rebecca glances at the empty plate and says, "When you try, you can." Maybe this is a lesson on perseverance instead of misery. She doesn't let me brush my teeth before bed, which seems petty. At night, I count the hours until daybreak. Long sitting aches my body. I'm always scheming how to get a phone. Maybe tomorrow. Sarah observes me at school the next day during the morning break between classes. Our school counselor tried to assist me when I started. She appears anxious, which makes me optimistic and afraid. I glance away to avoid Rebecca finding out I talked to anybody, but Sarah's eyes follow me down the corridor. English class makes me dizzy. I haven't eaten since last night's forced meatloaf supper, and Rebecca missed breakfast this morning. My body stops. My last recollection is my desk meeting my face. Someone shouts. Everything goes dark. I wake up at the nurse's office to a juice box. I know her wants. I sip apple juice slowly, sweet and cold. Holding the box, I shake. A desk-bound nurse fills on a form. One word is visible, but I don't grasp its meaning: malnutrition. Rebecca's name is at the top of the form, and when the nurse answers, I hear her loud and outraged voice on the phone from across the room. The nurse tightens her face while listening. Rebecca comes in 25 minutes and poses as a worried mother, touching and sympathizing with me. She then tells the nurse, "Emily adapts to American cuisine. She's dramatic. Her palate has always been finicky." I sit and listen to her lie. The nurse is skeptical. Her eyes alternate between Rebecca's and myself, but she doesn't answer. She summons no one else. I sense another aid door closing. Rebecca takes me by the arm and signs paperwork. Tight grip hurts. We head to the vehicle and I know I'll pay later. Rebecca's car pulled into the driveway and she cut the engine but didn't move. She stares straight ahead through the windshield for what seems like forever. Her jaw set and her hands tightly holding the driving wheel. As she gets out, her door bangs so hard that the car shakes. Staying in the car feels worse, so I run inside. The front door closes behind us. She goes for my upper arm and shakes me, shaking me so hard that my head swings back and forth. She smells like wrath and perfume and approaches my face. She says I humiliated her in front of those schoolmates and the nurse undoubtedly thinks she's a horrible mother. I click my teeth as she shakes harder. I say sorry in English, but it sounds terrible. And she shakes me again. We're alone without Mark's car in the driveway. The rationale is beyond me, but I've stopped trying to understand her. She releases me and I slump against the wall. She sends me to my room via the stairs. A fainting punishment is no meals tonight. Shaking, I take the stairs to my room. Her footsteps drop to the kitchen. I sat on my bed with an aching arm where she grabbed me. Her crimson fingerprints turn purple when I pull up my sleeve. My brain changes. I can't live like this. I must contact Maxim's parents tomorrow. Last week, I discovered 4 quarters and 3 dimes in the school parking lot and hid them in my pencil bag. I'll find a payphone near school after class and call to tell them everything. I lie on my bed, groaning from not eating since that forced meatloaf last night. When the phone rings, Rebecca knocks on my door. "Breakfast is ready," she says through the wood. Her voice is normal, and I stand and examine my arm. I hide my dark purple and yellow bruises with a long-sleeved shirt when I go downstairs and find Mark reading the newspaper at the table. Rebecca made eggs and toast. I eat something despite being hungry. After a few bites, I say, "Thank you" in English, the way she taught me. Rebecca smiles and nods like I'm a puppy learning a trick, then says, "I needed to learn there are consequences." Mark moans and turns a newspaper page without looking. I finish eggs and toast with a neutral expression. Rebecca laughs and tells me to catch the 16-minute bus. I get my backpack upstairs, seal my pencil case, and wait for the bus. School mornings are fuzzy. Maxim is at his locker between 2nd and 3rd. When nobody is watching, I lean near and murmur in Russian as I pass him slowly, saying, "Pay phone." After school, speaking quickly to your parents. He stops, nods and says, "Main 5th gas station, payphone, 3 blocks from the school." Closes his locker and leaves immediately. My heart is racing, but I feel hopeful for the first time in weeks. Be prepared. I stare at Russian-sounding numbers on the board in third period math, relax in the dark room after the fourth period history teacher shows a film, and see Maxim across the cafeteria but can't talk, making lunch the hardest. Last period English, I asked to use the toilet in bad English. I said, "Bathroom please." The instructor waved me away without looking up. Instead of walking to the bathroom and back, I take the long road past the main office and cautiously check through Sarah's office window. She's on the phone at her desk looking troubled. I wish I could walk in and tell her everything in English. I walk to the loo, run cold water on my hands, and look in the mirror. I look terrified and exhausted. I breathe deeply and return to class. When the last bell rings, I take my backpack and leave. My hands shake as I push through the doors. I quickly cross the parking lot and turn left onto the sidewalk. I check my shoulder to make sure Rebecca's car isn't following. 3 blocks feel like 3 miles. My pulse rushes. I noticed a pharmacy and laundromat. The gas station is ahead on the corner. I grab the outside payphone beside the air pump, cold and heavy in my palm. I pull the coins from my pencil case. My hands shake so badly I almost drop them. I put quarters in the slot one by one. I dial my memorized number. A Russian-speaking woman speaks by phone. Listening to my Russian makes me weep. I rant about Rebecca's threats, food punishments, being trapped in my room and garage, and my worry that she'll hurt me. I also talk about my arm injuries and how Mark stood there doing nothing. I say I don't know what to do, and I'm afraid Rebecca will pull me out of school. She listens without interrupting and says they'll call my school tomorrow when I stop talking. I trust her compassionate, forceful voice and say, "Thank you" in Russian. I hang up the phone and lean against the wall, feeling lighter than I have in months. Like maybe there's a way out. My heart stops as I turn around for school and see Rebecca 12 feet away next to her car. I don't know how long she's been there. My body chills. She's silent at first. She stares at me incomprehensibly. She moves slowly toward me. Steps seem to take forever. She stands in front of me and looks down. She talks sweetly and calmly. "Get in the car." I go to her vehicle on odd legs, sit in the passenger seat, and she starts the engine in the driver's seat. The journey home is silent and unnerving. Rebecca's white knuckles are from grasping the steering wheel hard. Her jaw tightens and her cheek muscle twitches. She ignores me and is silent. The car's stillness weighs me down. I want to apologize or explain, but I'm terrified to speak. We pull into the driveway and she stops the engine. My rucksack is spilled upon my bed by her. Books, papers and pencils litter. She explores at everything. She checks backpack pockets, rattles my pencil box, unlocks desk drawers, kneels and takes up a shoe from the floor. She rips out the inside sole and discovers my phone number on paper. She stares at me. She challenges my intellect. Is it all right to go behind her back? I'm most terrified of her quiet, controlled voice. She approaches me with the paper and touches my arm again, over the bruises, as yesterday. Pain makes me gasp. She takes me down the stairs from my room. I flee, but she's too powerful. We enter the kitchen and find Mark at the counter. He's home early from work. He looks wide as Rebecca drags me, but he doesn't move. I yell for help in my native language because I'm scared of English. Despite my pleas, he stays enthralled. Rebecca pulls me through the garage door and down 2 steps into the freezing concrete chamber where I slip and strike Mark's workbench. She stares at me from the doorway. She returns home and slams the door. I hear the lock click and knock with both fists, crying for help in Russian, English and Russian since I forgot which language to speak. No one comes, so I bang until my hands and throat hurt. The doorknob doesn't move. On November's cold day, I'm wearing my thin school shirt since Rebecca grabbed me before I could retrieve my jacket. The garage is black save for a little home light under the door. Since hitting the cold metal door is freezing my hands, I sit on the concrete floor and bring my knees to my chest to get warm. The garage is full with Mark's equipment and boxes in the car, but nothing to help me escape. A little window near the ceiling is too high for me to reach and probably locked. As the sun sets, the small light beneath the door fades out, leaving me in complete darkness. Like in gym class, I stand up and perform jumping jacks to warm up, but my legs are so tight from the cold that I can barely move. Nothing is visible and the cold is becoming worse. I bump into things and try not to think about how cold I am until I am too tired and curl up in the corner where 2 walls meet. To stay warm, I tuck my hands under my arms, raise my knees up, and make myself little. I wonder if my grandma, Sophia, who I'm named after, can see me from wherever deceased people go. I was frozen in an American garage when I asked for help. The thought makes me upset and almost cry, but I'm too chilly and sleepy. I wait there trembling, praying Rebecca will let me out before I die. Footsteps outside the door make me wonder what time it is. Suddenly the lock twists and the door opens, pouring house light into the garage and making me squint. Rebecca stares down at me on the floor and asks, "Have you learned your lesson?" I nod fast because I'll say or do anything to leave this cold garage. I limp past her into the warm home, my legs shaky and almost falling down the steps. Rebecca follows me to my room, where I think I'll finally feel warm under my covers, but she takes them off and departs silently. I'm chilly and shivering on my room's bare mattress, so I lie down and curl up like in the garage. I sleep from tiredness, but my throat, cough and body suffer the next morning. I'm dizzy and sit on the mattress to get dressed for school. Rebecca glances at me as she comes to my door and understands how sick I am. I hear her on the phone downstairs after she leaves and catch a few phrases. I sleep all day on the bare mattress, coughing or shivering even if I'm warm. Maybe I have a fever. She's calling the school to say I'm sick, so I can't attend, see Maxime, or get help. Her house is my jail. Rebecca below calls again and says, "Everything's fine, just a little bug." I close my eyes and wish I was somewhere else. On my second day home from school, the fever is mostly gone and I'm coughing less, but something seems odd. Rebecca enters my room with a tray and smiles, which she never does. She adds with a sweet voice that doesn't match her face that the soup and crackers on my desk are real food. I called the school to announce our homeschool start next week. Fast stomach drops make me sick again. I can't stop Rebecca from isolating me. She leaves with her dreadful grin, and I stare at the soup but can't eat it because I'm about to vomit. Rebecca's car leaves that afternoon, and I know she's going to the grocery store like every week. I sneak downstairs and go to the kitchen phone quietly. There's no dial tone. I follow the cord and see that Rebecca fully unplugged it from the wall and took it. Rebecca has turned the house into a prison where I can't escape or seek for help. My living room phone is unplugged and the cord is gone. My first floor windows all have new key locks. As I look out the living room window onto the street, I hear Rebecca's car pull into the driveway. I hesitate to go upstairs before she comes in. Rebecca enters with grocery bags and finds me near the window. She gently lowers the bags and grins coldly, freezing my blood. She continues, "I've talked to the school and they've approved homeschooling starting Monday, so you won't need to go back." School was my major link to helpers, so I'm frightened. Rebecca grabs her groceries and heads to the kitchen, leaving me trapped at the window. Monday morning Rebecca answers the phone downstairs and I crawl to the top of the stairs to hear Sarah call. Rebecca calmly says, "Emily has the flu." Rebecca stiffens and her voice hardens when Sarah speaks. Truancy laws, paperwork and homeschool removal. Rebecca has phone-related white knuckles and isn't smiling. She hangs up after a brief conversation. Rebecca calls again quickly. She's calling the school administration to appear calm, but I can sense her wrath. Withdrawal documents and homeschool clearance are needed. Rebecca shouts, "What do you mean 48 hours?" But the caller doesn't budge. Rebecca says, "Fine," eating it, and hangs up quickly. I hear from the stairs that the school is postponing her withdrawal for 3 days and requires me to attend. A fleeting moment, but something a chance. The next morning Rebecca drives me to school. She drives silently yet tightly. Finally she speaks calmly and threateningly in the school parking lot. She promises to make me regret anything I say to everyone, and I understand. I'm not dropped off at the door. She follows me inside the building and down the hall to my first session. After parking, Rebecca stops the teacher in the corridor and says, "Emily is still recovering. Please send her to the nurse if she seems unwell." The teacher agrees, and Rebecca glances at me before leaving. Her admonition drags me down at my class desk. My following day at school is filled with fear and preparedness as I realize I have 3 days or 72 hours to get assistance before she pulls me out of school and locks me away where no one will find me. Lunch is spent alone at my usual table, nibbling at my tray without eating much. I peek at Maxim across the cafe. From his table he passes mine. He drops something on my tray as he passes. My hands shake as I unfold a postage stamp-sized folded paper under the table and examine the faint Russian text. I leap at. His parents called the school yesterday and talked to someone named Sarah. Because my counselor assisted me previously. I write on the same page in tiny letters with my pencil, write in Russian that Rebecca knows something is wrong and wants to expel me from school. Urgent aid needed. I fold the paper again and wait for Maxim to drop his tray. I place the letter in his hand as he passes, and he closes his fingers without looking at me. A minute later, he reads it behind the garbage can and his face becomes white like someone smacked him. He exits the cafe after crumpling and discarding his lunch bag. Probably finding Sarah. I'm too busy to listen to academics all day. In third period, someone knocks on my classroom door to message the teacher. After reading, the teacher gestures to the door and calls me. Rebecca's morning admonition to avoid talking to anybody makes my stomach drop. I carry my books to the door, shaking palms. Rebecca confidently found Maxime's message. My tile floor footfall are too loud in the quiet corridor. The main office clerk receives my name. She leads to a counselor door off a corridor. I gently touch the door and a voice says something I don't understand. Sarah smiles at me from her desk when I arrive. She leads to a chair and I sit with my backpack on my lap for protection. Sarah shows me Russian-sounding English letters on a piece of paper from her desk, point and tap a page phrase. The phonetic Russian says, "I need interpreter in English." She helped me communicate with others here. Sarah has me say the line again. My strong accent and weird words make English sounds difficult. She nods encouragingly and I repeat till understood. I understand despite my shaky voice, need interpreter. 3 words may save me. Sarah writes on a notebook as I sit. Despite our inability to converse, I can tell she's making or accumulating evidence. This week's calendar shows Friday, 4 days away. She indicates to page interpreter and makes phone motion. She may state an interpreter is coming in 4 days, while nodding shows understanding and optimism. I'm concerned since 4 days feels like forever. Rebecca wants me out of school in 3 days, and I can't stand it. Sarah writes and circles another calendar number, perhaps noticing my face. After tomorrow. She raises 2 fingers before stopping. She may be saying Rebecca must wait 2 days to take me out, 2 days till interpreter. 2 days to live. It was uncommon for Rebecca to enjoy supper. Mark nods as Mom brings meatloaf and mashed potatoes and talks about church. She looks at me and mentions Sunday's special service. I hear adoption and honor, and understand she's being recognized at church for adopting me. I'm uneasy. She'll show everyone how great she is by showcasing me, which disgusts me. But then I learn something important. She must keep me looking well till Sunday's recognition. I cannot appear bruised or hungry before her church friends. A few more safe days. Make myself eat cardboard-tasting meatloaf. As I clean my plate, Rebecca smiles like she won Sunday morning. Rebecca drapes clothes over my bed. She drops them on my mattress and tells me to put them on. Never would have selected the pale pink dress with white flowers, tight neck, itchy sleeves. Rebecca clips and sprays my hair after I'm dressed, bruising my head. She walks back and nods, arranging me like a doll. Church parking lots fill up. They ask me whether I'm happy in America in loud, slow English like I'm dumb or deaf. When I'm slow to respond, Rebecca squeezes my shoulder. Everyone cheers when the preacher praises Rebecca's kindness in church. Standing, Rebecca waves and approaches. I become angrier when people smile at me like a rescued pet. Rebecca says she saved me from a terrible life in Russia and gave me opportunities I never would have had. Though I only understand half the words, I understand I should thank the story's hero. A gray-haired, kind-eyed woman approaches us after the service. She bends down to ask whether I'm okay in clear English, fully comprehend the query. Rebecca grabs my shoulder and waits for me to say yes, like a nice rescued orphan. But Sarah taught me that word. I gaze at her and say carefully, accent strong but words clear. Need interpreter. Uncertainty makes her grimace. Rebecca laughs a fake bright laugh and says something rapid about how I'm still learning, how I need practice comprehending American culture, and how good it is that I'm trying so hard. She nods, smiles, and pets my head before departing. Even though her fingers pain my shoulder, Rebecca smiles till we get in the car. Cold and silence on the journey home will cost me. Rebecca's grasp yesterday strains my shoulder when I go to school Monday morning. A loud alarm rings as I sat at my seat attempting to understand the English second period teacher. The fire alarm. We stand up as the teacher leads us to the door in a line. Everyone knows it's a drill or prank, so kids laugh and discuss. From every classroom, students fill the corridor as we depart. Teachers are arranging, but there are too many people and noise. Seeing my chance. Instead of following my class outside, I slither through the swarm and attack the students. Approaching the main office, my heart races in my throat. Due to evacuation, office halls are almost empty. I broke into Sarah's room without knocking. She looks up shocked from her desk when I present the Russian words paper she gave me. I repeat, I need interpreter, louder and more frantically. Need interpreter. Need interpreter. This is urgent. Sarah leaps up and rounds her desk, She helps me sit down and calls numbers while looking at me like it'll be okay. While on the phone, she repeats interpreter. I see her schedule again. She promoted the interpreter Wednesday, the day after tomorrow. Ivan is next to Wednesday AM with a 2-day time. I must suffer 2 more days. Sarah writes and shows me more on paper. Simple English I understand. A school can postpone withdrawal for testing. She may be saying the school may keep me till the interpreter talks. Rebecca can't remove me yet. Return to class announcements after the fire alarm. Unlike Rebecca yesterday, Sarah gently squeezes my shoulder as she leads me out. Her message is to wait. I go home that afternoon knowing Rebecca will rage. The school probably called about the fire alarm and my late class return. I enter the kitchen to see Rebecca on her phone. Her jaw is stiff and cheeks red. She freezes at me and hangs up abruptly. She fights to contain her anger as she turns to me and says in her fake calm voice that the school won't process my withdrawal until an evaluation is done. She requires me to attend school for 3 more days. Her comments imply danger in those 3 days. Mark is shaking hands while pretending to read the newspaper at the kitchen table. Rebecca tells me to my room, so I hurry before she changes her mind. No dinner invitation from Rebecca that night. I don't go down when I hear her and Mark dining in my room. My stomach growls. Time passes. Night descends. The house quietens when Mark heads upstairs to their bedroom. I open my door when I hear hallway footsteps. The hall light illuminates Rebecca at the threshold. In contrast to her usual rage, her voice is chilly and frightening. Quiet and harmless. She murmurs in a deadly voice that I'm wrong to think my ambitions would shame her. She says, "Tomorrow night, I'm sleeping in the garage again, and this time she doesn't care if I freeze." The door and latch click outside. I lie in bed in the dark, knowing she means it and that Wednesday am with the interpreter is my only chance. If I survive another night in the garage, maybe someone will hear my story in my own words. I lie in bed watching the ceiling and hearing the house settle. I jump with every creak expecting Rebecca. Though exhausted, my eyes won't close. I keep reliving her garage comments and not caring whether I freeze. Her remarks were cold and lifeless, like putting out stale food instead of closing someone outdoors in November. Digital clock next to bed shows me how long till morning. 4 a.m. becomes 5 a.m., becomes 6 a.m. Still awake. I feel like I've been up for days when morning breaks. Rebecca makes breakfast like nothing happened and presses me to hurry or miss the bus. I eat her oatmeal despite feeling sick. After getting my backpack, I shiver all the way to school, but not from the cold. Mark reads his newspaper without looking at me. Morning school lessons are like distance. I understand nothing when I see teachers writing on boards. Sarah visits my locker during the 2nd/3 break. Not sleeping makes my eyelids heavy, so I know I look horrible when she stares at me. She speaks in English I don't understand, but she sounds nervous. Workplace. Rebecca will hurt me more than the garage if I talk to Sarah again. I instantly shake my head and check my footwear. Another minute of Sarah observing me, but I don't glance up. Finally she goes, relieving and disappointing me. I'm too tired to see in 3rd period, so I sleep on my desk. My head snaps up when the teacher is tough. When I look at the board, the letters jumble. I count by the clock. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Tomorrow morning, interpreter Ivan will go to school to tell someone everything in Russian tomorrow. I must survive tonight in the garage. That idea drives me. Maxim is across the cafeteria for lunch, but we can't talk. Sees me and says something in Russian, maybe asking if I'm okay. Since instructors are watching, I have lunch alone and don't tell him about tonight or Rebecca's threat. The afternoon drags. Class felt 4 hours long. When the last bell rings, I'm exhausted and scared. Not well. Too short bus ride home. I hope it breaks down or gets stuck in traffic. Any reason to avoid that house. It stops on time. Therefore I must get off. My legs feel heavy like I'm walking up the driveway in water. Rebecca is making dinner, and the smell of meat makes me ill. As I enter, she points to the stairs without speaking. I waited on my bed in my room. Hours pass. Mark comes home from work. I hear them conversing gently while eating downstairs. No one asks me to eat. As the sun sets outside my window, the room darkens. I turned off the light to avoid attention. I anticipate what's coming in the dark. Around 8 o'clock, I hear stairs. I stiffen and cold. The footsteps stop outside my door. When Rebecca twists the knob, the door opens. Her initial reaction is to gaze at me in the dark. You must descend, she says. Despite her calm speech, I sense danger. She brings me into the kitchen from the stairs. Mark doesn't look up when we pass him with his newspaper at the table. Rebecca lets cold air in through the garage door. She points at the blackness beyond the door. Because my body won't adapt, I don't move. My shoulder hurts as she drags me forward. As I stumble in, the door crashes. The lock clicks and I'm alone in black. Colder than before. The concrete floor seems chilly through my thin socks. My eyes adapt slowly, but I can see shapes in the dark. Tool and paint can shelves, garage door outline, Mark's workspace. White clouds arise from my breath. I go around to stay warm, yet shiver. Step count. 12 stairs to the garage entrance. Turn around. Return 12 steps to the door. Turn around. 12 stairs to the garage entrance. I'm too scared to accept her invitation to her. This continues till my legs ache. Cold permeates my clothes and skin. Fingers go numb. Shoving my hands under my armpits doesn't work. An hour or two. Time slips away. The cold makes my toes numb. I stumble when walking. My teeth chatter so loudly my jaw hurts. Thinking of tomorrow and interpreter Ivan, I picture explaining my problem in my own language. This idea angers me, not inspires me. Rebecca's actions enrage me, and Mark for letting her. For not leaving or fighting, I loathe myself. Rage warms me up and moves me ahead. I won't freeze in this garage. I will survive tonight and tell Ivan everything tomorrow. More time passes. Not sure how much. I'm shaking non-stop. Trip and strike concrete. I collapse and struggle to breathe after hitting. Standing exhausts me. So fatigued. I want to sleep but may not wake up. Force me to walk. 12 steps, turn. 12 steps, turn. Slowness and brain fog. Lost in thought. Something clanks when I strike Mark's workbench. Leaning down, I wrap my frigid fingers around it. A screwdriver. I slowly form an idea in my clouded thoughts in the dark. I stumble inside the house. Screwdrivers are hard to use with numb hands. It went in the lock side door frame crack. No result from pushing and prying. I work harder. The screwdriver slips and nearly falls. My shaky palms make it hard to grasp. I inhale and try again. All my might, I thrust the screwdriver in. An item breaks. I press harder and the door clicks open. Warm home air makes me practically cry with relief. No thought goes into my actions. I leave via the kitchen. Mark naps on the living room couch when I pass. I leave via the front door lightly. Night air seems warmer than garage air while being frigid. In socks, I walk the driveway. Continue on the uneven, chilly sidewalk. Unsure where to go, just walking. One house, two. I collapse on someone's front porch after my legs give up, can't stand. Cold and weary. Stop moving. I weep because I fought hard to leave the garage but will freeze here. An overhead light turns on. Bright porch light bothers me. A bathrobe lady kneels alongside me, frightened, when the front door opens. While saying things I don't understand, her voice is worried and empathetic. She clutches my arm and pulls back, thinking I'm chilly. She gets up and hurries inside, speaking on her phone. She wraps me when she returns. I sob as she talks. Faraway sirens approach. Porch lights flash white and red. Uniformed people surround me on a stretcher and blanket me. Different covers. They're warm. Hot like warm. I close my eyes and feel warmth on my cold body. People ask me confusing questions. I repeat 3 English words. Interpreter Wednesday. School. When questioned again, I repeat. Wednesday. School. When the stretcher moves, I enter the ambulance. Close the doors and drive. I don't mind the loud siren and bright lights since I'm warm. In the hospital they wheel me into a bright room. A doctor stethoscopes my chest and examines my eyes. Nurses cuff blood pressure. They speak quickly, and I don't understand. I get a hot drink. Wrapping my hands around it doesn't feel like my fingers can hold it. Nurse helps me drink. It tastes good and relieves my throat. Repeating my 3 words. Interpreter. Wednesday. School. Ivan. Interpreter. School. A woman writes Ivan on a clipboard. Sarah's phone says her name. My heart races. Maybe they're calling Sarah. Perhaps she can explain Ivan and the interpreter appointment tomorrow. Doctor returns with severe words. When he repeats necessary report, the nurse nods and calls again. More enter. They wear police uniforms, serious faces, notepads. They try, but I can't speak English. My pocket holds Sarah's letter. The paper remains readable despite being crumpled and damp. I show police. Ivan, interpreter, school. One calls after looking at me. Hearing him say, Larissa Haynes, gives me hope. Phone the school. They want Ivan, Sarah, or an explanation. A traditionalist presents himself, but I don't know his name. Sitting beside my bed, he whispers softly. He points at himself and says Elliot-like things. He points at me to ask. Not understanding his query. Try another hand gesture. Perhaps he wants my name. Sophia is my real name, but Rebecca makes me use Emily. I'm confused by his inquiries. I kept shaking my head and repeated notes it. Interpreter Ivan nodding, he calls again. He stated Russian interpreter tonight an emergency. He hangs up and shows me his fingers and watch. He may be telling me the interpreter is coming, but I don't know when hospital time is odd. I occasionally sleep under heated sheets. I worry Rebecca will be there every morning, but she's not. Just nurses are checking on me and Elliot, who is sitting nearby. The atmosphere brightens and I remember Wednesday morning, Ivan's school day. I gently consume my nurse-delivered breakfast. My body is warming up again. My fingers and toes hurt like burning, but the nurse says that's normal. So no frostbite. Elliot answers the phone. He speaks for a minute, then hangs up smiling. Hand lifted, he indicates watch. 5 fingers. He may mean the interpreter will arrive in 5 minutes or 5 hours. No idea. Seeing him happy means soon. Sitting higher in bed, I wait. 15 minutes later, a briefcase carrier. Interpreter. Enters, gray-haired and tall with glasses. Staring at me, he speaks Russian. Physically, words move me. I cry before stopping. Rushing to the bed he sits. He claims to be Ivan and offers assistance. He promises I'm safe and can tell him everything. Tell him about Rebecca and garage rules in Russian. I explain my room lockout and food ban. Tell him she stole everything from Russia and destroyed my journal. My mother threatened to pull me out of school and didn't care if becoming American killed me. I described last night's garage freeze and my dread of death. I cry and tell him everything, but I must finish. Ivan notes while listening. He seems more serious as I talk. After I run out of words, he sits and stares at me, translating what I said to Elliot and the police. I watch their faces as Ivan talks. Elliot clenches his jaw and types fast on his notepad. Police are enraged. Ivan responds in Russian to a question. Has Rebecca hit you? I describe being shoved and having my arm bruised in the garage, showing my yesterday shoulder injuries. More notes are taken after Ivan interprets. English conversation continues with another police officer. In bed, I was tired yet lighter. I finally told someone everything in my language, and their looks said they believed me. My people believe me. Ivan translates Elliot. Elliot is a CPS employee. Bringing an emergency protection order, he says. Skip Rebecca and Mark's house. I won't return there unless a court orders me to, which he doubts. Ivan. Keep interpreting. Relief is overwhelming. Elliot says I'll be in a temporary foster home today while they investigate. He promises to defend, support, and care for me. He says Rebecca and Mark can't reach me. I can attend court. All will be interpreted by Ivan. Nodding because I'm dumbfounded. Stiff throat. Ivan joins me for more paperwork. He speaks English and translates into Russian over the phone, telling me about my foster home. Rachel has fostered before. She worked with foreign kids. She won't hurry me since I need time. Ivan gives me his phone number on a card and says I may call him anytime if I need an interpreter, feel scared, or require Russian. He says, see me in a few days. Having that card decreases my solitude. I may go by dark, say hospital workers. Elliot takes me to unexpected places, stopping at a little house with a porch and window boxes. A woman answers Elliot's knock. She has gray hair, glasses and pants and a sweater. She smiles and speaks English. Ivan translates Elliot via speakerphone. Rachel assures me of my safety. It smells like cookies when we enter. The living area has a couch and TV and the kitchen has a table. Rachel instructs me. She shows me a little upstairs bedroom. The bed features a desk, street-facing window, and blue blanket. Rachel points at the lock. A little button inside opens this traditional lock we see locking and unlocking. Phone translation by Ivan. I test the lock as she explains. This is my room and my space. I control the lock. Nobody will come in without knocking first. I can lock it whenever I want. If I want privacy, I can have it. Pressing locks it. Turn to unlock runs nicely. Nodding, Rachel looks at me nice. Again, Ivan interprets by phone. You're safe. Control space. I lock and unlock again to confirm sitting on the bed. I can breathe for the first time in months. That night, I crawl under the blue blanket and sink into the mattress for the first time in months. I slept non-stop for 12 hours. I wake up to downstairs sounds and the sun through the window. Rachel is making breakfast when I arrive. She points at the eggs and bread, not big feasts, normal servings. She eats me and the food, then shrugs like I don't want it. I eat slowly, nibbling, and wait for her to become mad or take the dish. She reads on her phone while drinking coffee. I stop eating when full, even when I have food. Rachel nods at the plate and me. She takes the meal without saying anything about waste or completing. I pause to realize nothing bad will happen. A day later, Sarah and Ivan visit. Sarah chats in Rachel's living room with Ivan interpreting. She claimed the school will provide ESL support when I return. English learning pupils and Russian-speaking teachers will attend. She apologizes for the delay and I tell Ivan in Russian that he saved my life by recommending an interpreter. Sarah tears up during translation. My hand is momentarily squeezed. I went to court a week after Rebecca's arrest. Elliot brings me to court, where Ivan joins. We enter a spacious wood-paneled room with a judge at a desk. Ivan, sitting next to me, translates what the judge says. Ivan interprets my Russian story. The judge takes notes and interviews Ivan. Rebecca and Mark can only meet me with supervision, and Rachel keeps me for at least 100 days while the lawsuit unfolds. Sienna introduces herself through Ivan post-court. As a foster care legal champion, she assures me via Ivan that I have rights and can stay in America regardless of Rebecca and Mark. I'll get guidance from them. My dread of being taken to Russia fades. After 3 weeks with Rachel, I return to school and find a genuine ESL classroom with a Russian-speaking instructor and international students learning English. I help a Ukrainian girl and Somalian boy with terms we don't understand. Over these 3 weeks I realize Rachel's meals operate differently than Rebecca's. If I don't like anything, Rachel offers another without getting irritated. The texture of her chicken prevents me from eating it one night. She makes me a lunch despite my expectations. I had Rebecca's court-ordered supervised visit 4 weeks following removal. Elliot takes me to a small CPS office with a table and seats. I glance at Rebecca and she talks. The translator asks how I could hurt them after all they done for me. I rise up and tell Elliot I'm leaving. He nods and we leave while Rebecca is still talking, which seems stronger than anything I've done. Maxim and I can speak Russian at school without being caught. Someone who speaks and understands my language simplifies things. Now that I'm secure, Elliot lets me visit his parents' house, where his mother prepares pelmeni and his father tells Russian childhood memories. Reuniting with a Russian family, eating home-cooked cuisine, and hearing my language spoken organically, makes me weep. Maxim's mother hugs me and says I'm secure in Russian. The school gives me a 504 plan with language help, providing me extra exam time, translation tools, and permission to write certain answers in Russian. As teachers treat me like a student, my grades increase. Sarah checks in with me weekly via Ivan concerning school and my mood. Trusting certain adults to help instead of hurting my schools. Elliot and Rachel report to the judge during the 30-day court review. She extends the protection order and denies Rebecca and Mark reunification. The judge mandates cultural competency and parenting education, but my safety comes first. In that courtroom, hearing the judge say my safety concerns makes me feel like the system protects me. A week later, Sienna invites me to her office and Yvonne translates. She informs Yvonne my citizenship road is straightforward as she distributes files on her desk. I may seek for permanent residency in America without Rebecca and Mark. She has formal paperwork establishing my Sophia identity and name rights. My chest loosens as I gaze at my true name on the documents. Sienna asks what I want to do about my name, and I tell her through Yvonne that I'll use Sophia with trusted people but Emily on official paperwork until I can officially change it. Instead of losing myself, it's a manageable compromise. She advises me to write again in Russian and preserve backups with Sarah in case something happens. I describe my grandma Sophia's looks, speech, and hair braiding on the first page. I write about Moscow, the orphanage, and my pals to preserve memories. Writing in my own tongue again is like discovering a part of myself Rebecca buried. As Russian words flow, my fingers move faster. I'm learning ESL 3 months after leaving Rebecca's place. Talking to Maxim's family improves my Russian and English weekly. The court prolonged my placement with Rachel for 7 months with probable guardianship if Rebecca and Mark don't finish training. I attend trauma treatment weekly. Rebecca and Mark must undergo cultural sensitivity training, and their church learned. Some families silently stopped chatting. Last weekend, Maxim's mother baked pelmeni, and his father shared anecdotes about growing up in Russia at supper. While eating home-cooked food and hearing my language spoken freely, I felt like I could be Sophia and Emily, Russian and American, without sacrificing either. I still get garage nightmares and flinch at loud noises. Now that I'm secure with people who appreciate my language and identity, I'm starting to think I can live here on my own terms. The future is unclear but potential, which is plenty after everything I've survived. Getting ESL aid is a legal right, asking for an interpreter can save your life, and CPS has emergency protection orders for certain situations.